We've got a fabulous episode lined up for you today, guys, especially, who hasn't? If you've ever felt stressed at work, struggled to switch off, or wondered what more businesses, your employer, or you can do to truly look after yourself and the people that you're responsible for. So I'm Laura Leyland. I've just been having a conversation about why I'm not changed to my newly married name. Co-founder and managing director at Fresh Perspective. We are a recruitment partner, bolting onto businesses and operating as an extension of them, helping with all things people, retention and recruitment related. Very different to more traditional recruitment agencies. We don't talk about that here. But joining me today is the wonderful Cheryle Britton, founder of the award-winning YOLO Wellbeing. After more than 20 years in marketing, see, I'm reading this and thinking, well, I didn't even know this about her. Her life-changing trip to Sri Lanka inspired her to completely change direction and create a business focused on helping people feel calmer, healthier, and more connected. So in today's episode, we'll be diving into all things workplace well-being, from understanding the science behind stress to recognizing the signs before burnout hits and the proverbial hits the fan, and exploring how employers can create cultures that genuinely support mental and physical health, showing just how powerful well-being at work can actually be. So hello, Cheryle.
Good morning. Hello, Laura.
How was that as an intro?
Wow. I have no words.
Rachel wrote it and I'm like reading it like, wow, this is amazing. So, I did know that you started out in marketing, but I didn't know you did it for so long before founding YOLO. So I know the answer might be the life-changing trip to Sri Lanka, but what was the reason behind the transition and what was it like for you?
I think for me, being in marketing for a long time, the reason I got in it originally was, I think, because I'm a people person. I love that interaction with people. And I think as my career went on with marketing, it became much more digital, which became a lot more faceless. And I think the catalyst of being away in Sri Lanka and having those Ayurvedic massage treatments and maybe being...
Sounds amazing.
It was almost like it happened at the right time. I think I was kind of falling out of love with marketing a little bit. And the treatments themselves, being sat on that chair in front of an open window and just being able to connect with nature and the views and just be in the moment. And then the power of touch and massage, it honestly took me to a different place.
Oh, wow.
Even talking about it, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up and I just feel calm just thinking about it. And coming back into the role, I'd actually used up all my holidays. So when I got off the plane, myself, my husband and my son kind of got a taxi, dropped me off at work and went on home. So it was literally straight back into work.
Oh,
but
my
I
goodness.
think, over the next few weeks, few months, it's, you've got people asking you for things. It's like you've got deadlines, you've got projects that you're managing, you've got reports to write, you've got, all these different things that are going on, all these demands in the workplace. And then you've got lots of demands outside the workplace as well. Sometimes it's really easy to feel overwhelmed or, that you just need to take that moment. And I kept finding myself just having moments where I was like, my feet would be planted on the floor. I just close my eyes and take a deep breath. And I'd be back on that chair in Sri Lanka. And I just thought, do you know what? I think I'm going to do something with this. And that's where it all started.
Oh, I love that. So if anyone's at a career crossroads, go to Sri Lanka, have
Absolutely.
a massage, and you'll have that epiphany moment. I know what you mean about massage. I don't know what type of massage it was for me, but I remember one specific time, I'm going back years ago, I'd been on I was on a yoga retreat for the weekend and part of it was massage. And it was a long massage, like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And she was using stones, what they call like your birth...
The hot stones.
Yeah, like rose quartz and what are they?
Oh, the crystals.
Crystals, that's it.
Yeah.
She was using different crystals and putting them in my hand and putting them on me. And she was asking me things as well, and we were talking. And at the time, I think I was going through my divorce from my terrible first marriage. And she put obsidian in my hand, and she was massaging me. And then it felt like it became part of me. And as she took it off me, she was massaging each finger, and I genuinely felt like she was squeezing out. Like each finger represented some stress that I was holding on to.
Yeah.
And it was so weird, like a really spiritual moment. It can be so powerful massage?
I think there's a lot of energies at play, and I think also the physiology of it as well, in terms of how your body's responding. So you talk about the vagus nerve helps regulate the body, taking you from fight or flight back into rest and digest. So kind of when we're doing the YOLO experience massage, we do a lot of stimulation around the vagus nerve, and it just helps calm the body. It kind
Oh,
of
really?
inhibits the cortisol and just releases the oxytocin, which is kind of that feel
Oh,
good.
we love that stuff.
love drug. So yeah, where can I buy it?
No, I'm at night. I'm like, right, Pete. I've read that you have to give me an all-encompassing hug for like 7 minutes, and then release oxytocin. He's like, right, okay. I'm like, right, come on, I'm ready for it.
You know what? It's even simpler than that. Just the art of the lightest touch just around some of those vagus, just around the nerve endings, whether that's around the side of the face, whether that's just around the neck, just down the back of the neck, and someone just doing that to you. I mean, it's great for kids. If you've got children that struggle to settle, just being able, when they're in that space, we're in the quiet time, just being able to just gently stroke down the back of the neck, and
Oh,
that
okay.
can be really, really soothing.
Interesting. So where is the vagus now? Where does it run
So
from to?
the vagus nerve is kind of just in the back, in the hip.
Like the bottom of the
Yeah.
skull.
And it's called the wandering nerve. So it kind of, you've got nerve receptors that go all the way down into your stomach. They call it.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of there in the body, but it works with the nervous system, or it is part of the nervous system. And we work with the fascia as well, which is the connective tissue. And working the two together is really powerful in terms of helping to just, sometimes when you're quite stressed and you just feel that gentlest of,
Yes, I know that feeling very well.
that's the physical kind of feeling you get when the fascia's just relaxing,
Oh,
when you're
wow.
just switching from that high kind of, fight or flight back into that rest and digest. And it can be really quick, and it's quite consistent. And I think the techniques we use, and all our therapists are trained in YOLO therapy, so we can all use standard techniques that work every time. And I think it's that science behind it. We know it works because we're consistently getting the same results.
Yeah, it is. And I think some people just think massage is just a nice thing that we do at a spa. And I don't think they realise the actual benefits and the science behind it, which is really fascinating. And I think when we started, so we at Fresh, experience Cheryle and her therapist. They come in the massage bus every so often, and we all have a massage. And at first, I was probably dubious because I was like, it's 20 minutes. I'm like, what are we going to get done in 20 minutes? But I generally can't believe the difference between when I go in and when I come out, and that 20 minutes of just calm, peace, looking at them, whether it's the forest or water, and having that massage, it makes a massive difference. So it doesn't have to be a big investment of time or money. It doesn't have to be this massive thing. It can just be 20 minutes fitted into your work day, and it makes a massive difference. So talking about that, why? So you go into a lot of workplaces to talk about and assist with well-being. Why is it so important in the workplace? Because it's talked about a lot these days. Like workplace well-being is now like a buzz phrase. I think people just use it and talk about it. But I do think some people, if they think it's a fad or a trend, and they should just be in doing it at the moment because it's popular, and a box to tick. But do you genuinely believe it's good for business to focus on workplace well-being?
There's a report out this year from the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development and Simply Health, stating that 41% of long-term absence sickness is due to poor mental health.
Oh my goodness. 41%.
41%. And last year, so 2024, Mental Health UK released the burnout report, and 90% of people were suffering with either high stress or feelings of burnout.
90.
Yeah. And we work with great employers. We work with employers who are actually invested in their staff. And as part of our consultations, those figures stack up. So as part of our consultation, we ask about stress,
okay.
we ask about mental health, and the figures are reflective of what you find in those statistics, those reports. And we've worked with over 10,000 people since we launched the business, which is not
Oh my God.
insignificant numbers.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
So you've helped 10,000 people deal with stress.
I mean, we've got a lot of regular clients, so we might be going back into some of those
Yeah,
people,
but
10,000,
yeah.
delivery of over 10,000.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. So I mean, even if businesses are doing it as a box ticking exercise, it's still having a powerful impact on the people in their business and ultimately their businesses.
Yeah.
Like one of my questions later on, we can actually skip to that, is like, where was it? Yeah, so I think doing what we do with recruitment, we're talking to businesses, we're talking about people and hiring people and retention and why people leave and things like that. And to me, more businesses now than when we set up 9.5 years ago are bothered about retention, making sure the team are happy. A staggeringly increased amount in comparison to where it was 9.5 years ago. But still, to me, there's a baffling amount of people that are senior leaders or business owners that don't care at all about the happiness or the well-being of their people and are apparently flummoxed when people leave because they don't understand why. But I suppose my question was, like, why should people care about this? Even if they aren't bothered or care in the slightest about their people, why should they do it? Does it impact a business's bottom line? Is it actually productive for them as businesses rather if they're not people-focused?
I think, truth be told, if you're asking that question and a leader is not invested in their people, then doing a wellbeing event ad hoc every now and again is a tick box, and your people will see through that. As an employer, looking after your people and wellbeing isn't just about bringing services in like ours. It's about having the training in place. It's about being supportive on a daily basis, making sure that your managers are trained to be able to support their staff. So if you're an employer that doesn't care about staff and doesn't care about the people, and it's fine, we'll just get someone else in, then that attitude, you can bring us in all day long. Yeah, we'll do a great job. People will feel amazing after we've left, but it sours very quickly because you're in a toxic environment.
And that could actually have a negative impact on the business because the people will be like, this was amazing and we don't do it all the time, but I've heard of other companies that do it, or they'll look on your LinkedIn and like, oh, she's at this company, maybe I'll see if there's a job going there.
Do you know what? It's so funny because we were with a client yesterday and they were in shared office services, and they had a couple of spare, a lot of the staff kind of work outreach, and a couple of them couldn't make it. So they're always happy for us to kind of go in and see if anyone wants to fill those places. And we had someone in and she said, oh my God, this is amazing. I wish we did this. I said, well, I think, why don't you get a job with our client?
Oh, take my business card to your boss.
So obviously she took.
They're like little sales ambassadors.
But it is, and it's at surface level, that 20 minutes of having the YOLO experience, you will feel, if you come in and you're feeling okay coming in, you will feel better going out, without a doubt.
100%, yeah.
But if you come in and you're not feeling that great, that's where the real value comes in.
Yeah.
That opportunity to just completely switch off, to not have any responsibilities and to be able to focus on your own self-care just for that short amount of time. Again, there's data to suggest that even taking between 1 and 5 minutes downtime and doing nothing and not being stressed can be enough to give your body the resilience that it needs to go back into a stressful situation.
Wow, that's really powerful, isn't it? So you could just go and put on a meditation on Spotify for like 3 minutes and sit in a room on your own with your eyes closed. Because the 20 minutes is, for me, is a place where I'd probably, apart from being asleep, is somewhere I don't enter because I've not got my phone. No one's asking me a question. I'm not watching anything. I'm not listening to anything apart from maybe the trickle of a waterfall on the video that I've chosen, or the birds on the jungle one, the forest one. It's just 20 minutes. You think, God, 20 minutes of not listening, saying, doing anything is a long time. But it passes in a flash. I don't know where I go. But it's ace. And then when you're talking about, like, obviously if they are just ticking a box and every now and again they do an event or they just do something, and but other people that have processes and systems in place and then training the managers. Like what is that training how do people then, how do they do that, go that little bit further? Because a lot of businesses are really educated when it comes to stuff like this.
I think it comes down to, for us, and again, if you're doing training, that training's got to stick. It's not a case of, we'll come in, we'll do a workshop. Once that workshop's finished, nothing changes.
Yeah.
Then you need legacy and you need agency. And wellbeing isn't just the responsibility of the employer. The employer's there and can help facilitate it, but you've also got to kind of engage the staff and motivate them and give them the tools to be able to then go away and go, oh, actually, I felt really good after that. I want to go and do something for myself. And I think that
Okay.
that's where we've been developing new services. So we are launching as part of our kind of regular packages. We have interactive posters now. And when we say interactive, so it's like some amazing poster artwork that we've had developed, which is educational. But it also has QR codes on there that you can just literally scan, and it takes you to that 101 wellbeing breathing technique, or stretching exercise, or strengthening exercise, or visualization, or tip to help you with different things. So we found from working in the ban, quite often it's not just 15 minutes therapy. It's like, well, actually, do you know you're holding tension down one side of your body? What could be the reason for that? Is it because of the way you're working? Yeah, you've got the right setup, but actually I'm working 65% on my left screen, so I'm looking left more often than not. So how do you make those adjustments? How to
Okay,
stretch it
interesting.
out, and giving people the knowledge, but then the stretching exercises or the breathing exercises to kind of release stress.
Yeah, so you're kind of bringing it to their awareness, but then giving them a few extra tools to go further with it beyond your session with them.
So it sticks.
Yeah, which I think is fab. That's really positive, because I think people don't often realize they're stressed, and then when it gets a point where you're at the point of no returning, like, oh, I am stressed. But I think we touch on this later, but just noticing the signs. But you mentioned about workshops that you do. Like, what's your most popular workshop that you do with businesses?
The two that are probably most popular is managing your relationship with stress. And
People like, I don't have a relationship with stress.
And the other one is, are you sitting uncomfortably? So again, as massage therapists, experts in kind of the musculoskeletal side of things. And if you think about it as well, with posture, we've only been working at computers for the last 30 years.
Which is not really a long time, is it?
We're only now seeing kind of the results, and the amount of people that are leaving work early with poor posture, with bad backs, with poor neck, and injuries that, chronic injuries that are painful permanently is growing. So being able to educate people at the start of the career and not waiting until it becomes a problem, because
yes, it's proactive.
Posture is an evolution.
Yeah, and bad posture doesn't just happen overnight, does it? It's
not at all.
It's little strains consistently over time. And then I suppose talking about like your relationship with stress, I probably do have a very toxic relationship with stress, but understanding stress is obviously a big part of what you focus on and work with people on. Why do you think it's such a big issue? Is it just that it's suddenly a bigger issue today, or is it that we're aware of it? And if you do think it is bigger of an issue now than it used to be, why do you think that is?
I think stress has always been around. Stress is part of life. There's no getting away from it. Grief isn't new. Working hard, working long hours isn't new. Having busy lives, all the things that are kind of the causes of stress are not necessarily new, but sometimes to a certain extent our resilience towards it, or our ability to manage stress, or it not recognising it soon enough that you can do something about it, and doing something about it. I think to a certain extent we've kind of evolved to a place where we just try and ignore it until it becomes a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Personally reflecting here.
and it's easy to do. When
it is easy to do.
So easy to do, and it happens at all levels. It happens from, we talk about young people and mental health. But you also, coming into the workplace, but you've got people in the workplace, you've got 5 generations of people, working alongside each other. That's never happened before. So there's lots of new things going on. There's lots of change in terms of, how we work, technology and how that's impacting things. We look at our NHS system and how that's deteriorated over so much time, but also a culture of, we just go to the doctor when we want fixing, when we're broken already.
Yeah, take a tablet. Here you go.
Yeah. But that responsibility of looking after ourselves and prevention, we need to start sooner. And I think that's the culture shift that we're seeing almost from a governmental, can't even say the word, from a policy level and an investment level now in some of the schemes that are ongoing. So Workwell is one that is available in Lancashire, in Greater Manchester. We're actually working with South Yorkshire on a pilot scheme that they're doing at the moment. But, the government are looking at this because it's an economic problem.
Right, okay.
And, it's kind of coming to a point now where they're reviewing those systems. But it's probably got to be led by government for businesses to actually take it seriously and move it forward. And I think, you've got a lot of really great businesses out there like yourselves.
Thank you very much.
Who are, see the value in that, but there's still so many that don't. And I think there's also challenges in terms of, where do you start? This isn't a landscape of these are all the people you can trust. These are all the there's lots of grey areas, and is it clinical? Is it not clinical? Is it regulated? And it's finding those businesses that you do actually trust and can work with, and that are also going to make that difference for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, I never ever thought about it being led by the government or, it being coming through their policy. But I suppose it is a massive strain on the NHS stress.
Yeah.
The amount of things that people will go to the doctor and on other NHS services that are linked to or a knock-on effect of workplace stress. I'd not thought about it like that before. And because we talk about stress, like people are like, oh, I'm stressed. It's a word that we use to explain how we feel. But in your opinion, are there different types of stress?
Yes.
And what are they?
Well, there's the good stress that is kind of keeps you alert, gets you focused. You've got a deadline. I remember still a long time ago. But you've got a report that you've got to finish, and it's got to be in. And then that you pull the all-nighter to be able to do it. And it's like you're kind of living on adrenaline. Of course, all the adrenaline gets you through.
And the dopamine hit when you've done it and it's well good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then there's that stress that one deadline passes, you've got the next deadline, and then the next one, and then you've got this, and you've got that, and that downtime of the body being able to recover isn't there. And it's just being able to that chronic stress where it's there all the time. And it might be a low-level chronic stress. It might just be the fact that, you're a busy parent and you don't have downtime. You get up in the morning and your life's mapped out for you. That the next time that you switch off is that sitting on the couch 5 minutes before bed going,
yeah, there's no downtime when you've got, especially young children, no downtime until they're asleep.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a negative way. That's just a fact. It's love. They're joyful creatures most of the time. So I've been told. But that you won't realise that is stress because there is no let up until they're asleep.
But you've also got the other end of the spectrum is looking after parents, as the nation ages, you're looking after, people at the other end of the lifespan, and it all kind of impacts on you. Where do you take time out?
Where do you take time? Because you're busy at work, but then home isn't always a chill place for everybody. Oh, goodness gracious. This is a bigger problem than I thought it was. And I suppose, we as you know, we get you in, and then we have Emily that comes in to do HIIT classes. So we place a great deal of emphasis on exercise, as much to the chagrin of most of the team. They just look at me like they hate me. I'm like, right, no, come on. I'm happily be the person that you hate right now, but we're going to do 20 to 30 minutes of team exercise. You can exercise hard or as little as you want, but you're getting up and you're moving your body.
Yeah.
And some of them love it, some of them hate it. So Fridays is mandatory. Tuesday and Thursday not mandatory, but expected. And I know that not everyone will want to do it, but everybody loves yoga. and we got our yoga instructor that we used to come in the other week, and everyone, I looked around after we'd done it, and we had 2 new people join us early this month, and they'd never ever done yoga before. And everyone's faces, everyone just looked chilled, like they'd had a sleep. And I'm like, everyone's like, we'll love that. It really helped us feel better. We didn't think about anything else for the whole hour. I was like, right. So I'm getting the yoga lady at the moment because we're really busy, which is amazing, but stressful, in a positive way. But it's still stress, isn't it? Being busy and having a lot to do. So we're getting her to come in every week on different days to do it. Because I generally think for that hour of time, the cost versus the benefit is huge. So we're making sure that she comes in because we are doing really well as a business now. And in comparison to this time last year when I was stressed and worried about money coming in because we had the budget coming up and people had started recruiting and it was awful and I was having panic attacks. I'm stressed now, but for the opposite reason. Like, we're really busy. It's going to be the best year ever. But everyone's really busy. And like you say, it's the deadlines, having a lot to do all the time. And then once you fill something, there's another vacancy in it. So I'm like, what can I do to making sure they all leave the office at lunchtime, kicking them out even when it's raining, getting them up to do exercise, making sure they're drinking enough water and that we're talking and we're recognising where someone might be struggling and having chats with people. And we would add some walking meetings and then doing the yoga, and you or one of your team are coming soon to help us with the massages. So it's just trying to think how you can fit things in, isn't it, in the business that would help. It doesn't have to be a full day event where no one's going to do any work. And I think some business owners think, oh, I don't know how we would do it. How would we pay for it? How would we manage it with, we can't close down the business, but it's just fitting it in and making it tailored, I think, to what you do. As businesses. And then just kind of going back to what you said before about stress and the different types. What are the signs of stress, and how can you recognize it before it gets to the point where burnout is a real thing?
I think if you're looking at the people around you, so if you're a manager or if you're looking after people, one of the biggest signs really is a change of behaviour. So if you've got someone who's quite vivacious, they're quite loud in the office, and all of a sudden they're not quite that loud, they're not that person that they normally are. Or, you're used to someone who delivers every single time and all of a sudden there's little mistakes or, it's not quite up to the standard. Always ask that question, is everything okay? Because quite often if someone's level of work changes, and it's usually good, if someone's behaviours change, the way that they respond to people, usually there might be something else going on. There's usually a reason if you know someone and then they're not that person that you normally see. And that can be anything from, it could be mood swings, it could be more emotional, and they could respond to other people differently. Some people go in on themselves, so they're very kind of they might not speak up, whereas others get really angry with things easily. And there's lots of different, you can feel fatigued, your food choices change. When we're stressed, we tend to crave more sugary foods. We don't sleep as well. Our body kind of tenses up, our muscles are tense, our mind's racing. So sleep's a big one in terms of identifying that for yourself.
Oh, these are really good. And
we've actually, the posters that we've designed will actually give you all this information in like an A3 kind of visual.
Love this. We need some of these posters.
We do need these posters.
Because I do think the team probably are stressed in different ways, and not necessarily negatively, but because we are really busy. So I'm quite keen to continue doing what we're doing. And if there's other things around food and sleep and other bits and pieces that we can be helping with information, then that's fab. And what if you notice someone is behaving differently and is everything okay? And they say yes. And what? Because most people do like, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, no problems. Everything's fine. You're like, mother of God, I know you're not fine because of this, and this. Like, what do you do?
If it was me, I would ask again. So, are you sure?
I don't believe you. Sorry, try again. Wrong answer.
Yeah. I mean, and again, the speed at which people say, I'm okay. Sometimes it's you read cues. It's not just the verbal. There are other cues that kind of sit with that. There was someone in the van once and asked them the same question, and they paused So we asked again. And the
Or
reason,
pause before they answered.
yeah.
Right, okay.
And I asked the question again, and they said the manager had asked them the same question, and they didn't know how they felt. So they just said they were okay. They didn't know how to articulate it.
Oh,
And
okay.
sometimes there's lots of different barriers why people are not ready to kind of open up and say, no, I'm not okay. If someone's dealing with a lot and you say, no, I'm not okay, you're almost opening the floodgates to everything not being okay. And they're
So,
not ready to kind of
yeah.
let go. There's,
Or you need to be in the right place for them to do it. You can't just be sat next to them at your
yeah,
desk going, "Are you okay?" Like looking around like, "No, I'm not, but if I can't get into it here."
yeah.
Well, they wouldn't say that to you verbally. I suppose, well, going back to last year, when I was struggling and people kept asking me how I felt. And I hated that question, thinking about it now.
Mm.
And I don't know if I ask people that. I ask like, what's going on with you? What's happening? Try and ask more practical questions. Because last year I was like, how do I feel? Well, I feel like crap. Fine, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about how I feel. Whereas people were like, oh, do you want to go for a brew? Or what have you been up to? Different things. That was what I needed rather than asking me about how I felt all the time.
I think that's it. And it's sometimes if you know someone's not ready to necessarily open up, doing something that shows that you care without forcing them into a position where they feel they need to talk can be really kind of
Okay.
calming in itself. So if people come into the van, you say, are you okay? And they don't want to talk. And quite often, people don't. But just having that space where they can have 15 minutes very quiet time where we don't speak, but we just do the therapy on its own can be really calming. Again, the physiological side of what we're doing is very beneficial. And they can leave there feeling calmer, but still intact, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're not
Because,
completely unraveled, but you do
yeah,
feel better.
yeah.
Okay, this is really good. Because someone asked me yesterday how didn't say me ask me how I feel, like, "How are things with you?" And I generally pause, and I'm like, "Hang on, just let me think about that." I'm like, "I think I'm okay. Things are good. Things are a bit stressful and a bit busy, but I'm all right." So, but I checked in properly, instead of going, "Yeah, it's fine. I actually thought about the answer."
Mm.
I'm like, "Yes," I would say, "I've thought about it properly." Because your initial reaction is say, "Yeah, I'm fine." I think people, especially in Lancashire, when they greet you, they're like, "Are you all right?" And then you're like, "Yeah, you." But they're
As if
not
no
real
one's listening.
answers. No, they're not real answers. So I think when you say to someone, "Are you all right?" I think our natural response is to just say, "Yeah," because
Mm.
you, first of all, it's habit. And then second of all, you think, are they really asking? Or is this just a
A
greeting?
greeting,
Yeah. And
yeah.
you're like, because do they want me to answer honestly? Like all this goes through your mind in that split second.
Are you overthinking this?
Possibly. Possibly. There's a small chance. Okay, this is really good about the signs of stress. So I suppose people can maybe start noticing that about themselves as well as other people helping. I suppose that's what you mean about giving them the tools and manager training, and how it's not just the employer's responsibility, that everybody in the business, if they're aware of it and know how to spot the signs, then we can all look after each other,
Yeah,
which is lovely.
definitely.
Um, so talking about the government and the NHS, you've recently done an academic trial with the NHS in UCLan,
Yeah,
which is fab.
it was. It
That
was.
sounds amazing. Like, tell me more about it.
So we did the trial in 23, 24. It was over a period of months, and we worked with the accident and emergency team at Lancaster Royal, and the trial was analysed by the University of Central Lancashire. So they ran the trial for us, and that was probably towards the end of the RDF funding, which was wonderful.
Oh.
But what we were looking for is, since launching the business, the response that we were getting from people who'd had the experience and had the YOLO therapy, not just with me, but when I had therapists and they were trained up, was consistently better than anything that I expected it to be, if I'm honest. So we went looking to see, can we get some actual independent data to actually back this up. So the trial itself just enabled us to to capture that data and measure it, and then be able to give some results on the back of that. So, this isn't us just saying it. This isn't just our own surveys, of which we've got probably 650 people who've responded and said that, the mood, their energy levels, the performance at work, the stress levels were all improved following a 15-minute therapy session. But through the trial, they actually found that anxiety, stress, and burnout reduced by up to 25% with one session.
Wow. One session?
One session. And
one 15-minute session?
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And that those that had access to regular sessions on a monthly basis found that those benefits improved over time.
Wow. So what was the session?
So the session is the YOLO experience therapy. So we had the van.
The massage therapy.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Which is so powerful.
That is amazing. So just one 15-minute session, reduce it by how much?
Up to 25%.
25%. Wow. That's amazing. I love that you've got that evidence. It's not just what you say or your customers or people that like you. Because people are like, oh, if you've done a report yourself, it's not valid. I'm like, well, it's sad that you feel like that. You're very mistrusting of people. And I do get it. Because, various different companies that have come and gone and, only post their own trials that back up their own claims. And I get why people are mistrusting. But how else are you supposed to test what you do and the impacts of it if you can't use your own data and your own customers who love it? Or, oh, no, I hate it. Like, not all of our customers have been happy. We've managed to turn things around for them, but not everyone's happy. I would say it's a high percentage, but I would love to do a proper study into it. And I imagine your data and the service you've done with your customers are fantastic. But again, it probably isn't, it's not one size fits all for every single person, is it? I think it's really good that you've got that information backed up by the data in the trial. And so, did anything come out of that would draw out the impact on a business not focusing on well-being?
In what sense?
So so obviously, I suppose it is the opposite side. If people they're not going to have that benefit, that 25% reduction in the stress of each individual person. They'll just have that stress that they'll carry on through if they don't focus on it.
I think it's difficult to measure something that's been prevented.
Yeah.
However, if you're a business owner and you see things like deadlines being missed, whether you see inaccuracies, decisions not being made, attention to detail, procrastination, relationships between people in teams, a higher rate of, challenging behaviours. If people aren't getting on and rubbing people up the wrong way again, sometimes that can be down to stress. If one person's stressed and dealing with something and they need help from someone else who's stressed and hasn't got the time for them, and it,
well, yeah, because they're stressed, and they're not. So that's why they've not got the time for them. But to the person asking for the time, they don't necessarily see that. They'll just think that they've not got the time for them. There's a problem, or they're not important. They're not valued. Oh wow. So you mentioned procrastination. So can that be a knock-on effect of stress?
Absolutely.
Why does stress lead to procrastination?
I think it's overwhelm. When you're stressed about a decision that you might need to make, and you start overthinking it, you start worrying, you question yourself. You're busy with other things, so it might not be something that's an easy decision.
And I forgot what my next question was going to be.
Sometimes easier to kick it down the road and put it to the bottom of the I know it's important, but I'll deal with that when I've got the headspace.
Yeah. Okay. And how do you overcome? So if you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed and it's leading to procrastination, how do you stop that cycle? Like what can we be doing to help with the stress in the short and the long term to stop the feelings of overwhelm, burnout, procrastination, missing deadlines, challenging relationships with co-workers?
Best thing to do is break the cycle.
Okay, which sounds easy. How do we do that, please?
So again, it's kind of coming back to some of the things that we've already been speaking about. So, awareness, understanding that, the responses that are happening are maybe stress related, the behaviours or the, the challenges that you're having with your, maybe you've got staff who aren't working to the best of their abilities, and you know that because they're usually great. Is right. Okay, well, how do we manage that? If we've got awareness of what that stress looks like and the source of the stress, if possible, then how do we manage that? But then, like you're already doing, is taking people out of that situation, even just for a few minutes, whether that's to do yoga, whether it's to do the YOLO experience, doing the HIIT sessions with Emily, is that when you're going back in, you're looking at things in a different perspective.
Yeah, because you've literally broken the cycle physically,
Yeah.
because you're taking yourself away from it. And I suppose you wouldn't necessarily do that for yourself, because you're like, I'm busy, I've got all these things to do, just keep going, keep going. People push their lunches, they end up working late, they come in earlier, but they don't take themselves away to go and do something different and then go back because they're just so busy.
And this comes around to that 360 of responsibility. So yes, employers, if you're a good employer and you're encouraging staff to do that, ultimately the staff need to kind of take ownership of that and do it themselves. And we've found with some of our clients where they've where they're using us, that is a very clear sign to staff that, yeah, it's okay to take that 20 minutes. We want you to take that time for yourself so that when you come back, you're feeling better, you're more energized, some of that stress has disappeared, you know how to manage your stress, you know what it feels like, that you're in a better place than you were before that. And being able to give staff and empower them and, look, go and take 5 minutes. You go and take 5 minutes and come back and you'll feel better than if you sit there for 5 minutes procrastinating and doing nothing
Oh my God,
anyway.
yeah, just go and walk around our block. 5 minutes, go and walk around the block, come back. It's 5 minutes.
Go
Not
make a
gonna
brew.
not gonna ruin your day.
Yeah.
And I have noticed, not just recently, but every now and again, people will on a Tuesday and on a Thursday when the HIIT class isn't mandatory. Like, I'm not gonna do it today because I'm busy. I'm like, well, and I'm like, that's when why you should be doing it.
Yeah.
More so, just come and do one round or half of it. And like, oh, I've got a call. I'm like, well, move your call, because you're just as important as everything else, if not more so.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm loving this, like a therapy session for me. What can the impact of stress be if it isn't managed, noticed, or dealt with? Oh,
Big question.
don't terrify me, but
No.
come on, give me the hard hitting truth.
Stress going unchecked, at worst, can result in complete burnout where you can't get out of bed. Your body doesn't work anymore. It just
That
goes
really
into
happens. People just cannot get out of bed. My
Your body goes into shutdown because it can't deal with it. Stroke,
Oh wow.
heart attack. At worst, these
Yeah.
are things that happen, and blood pressure. We talk a lot about blood pressure and managing your numbers. If people aren't willing to maybe recognise that stress is a mental health problem, then another way of looking at it is it's a physical problem, which it is. The two are interlinked completely. And just being able to kind of recommend that people go and get their blood pressure checked. Only it's £25, £30 for a blood pressure machine on Amazon.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I'll write that down. Get one.
Get one in the kitchen and let people just check their blood pressures whenever they want.
Okay.
But just having that there and being able to check your blood pressure, if you're, oh gosh, I hate these situations. I think it was, I'm not even going to mention the numbers. We'll come back to that and I'll give you the details.
Okay.
I'm on the,
I don't understand blood pressure numbers anyway.
Yeah, but blood pressure is a big one.
Okay.
And we've had people in the van where we've recommended they go and check the blood pressure. We had one person who was then referred to mental health crisis team as a result.
Oh my goodness. And that was just so they just checked it themselves and it was so high, they're like, wow.
Yeah.
And so had that gone unnoticed, that could have led to a stroke, heart attack, things that related to
Potential.
high blood pressure. Wow. Oh my goodness. And what are the
Without wanting to scare you.
No,
I don't want to scare
but I
you,
think people
but
need to
don't let
know.
it get that
And
bad.
it is like stress, I think, can be seen as a mental issue, because it's inside, isn't it? It's not visible. But recently I've come to notice that I just thought I had a knot in my right shoulder, but then I've been speaking to a counsellor and a therapist for the last 6 months to help with the knock-on effects of where I was in a bad place last autumn. And I came to notice that in my sessions with her sometimes, talking about certain things, the pain in my right shoulder would come back, and it's a physical pain like there is and not, like you could massage it. And then I come to notice that it goes at certain points and it just comes back. And I noticed that at certain points when I'm stressed, my neck literally aches. You know, and I'm like, oh my God, that must be where that saying comes from, and it's a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
I genuinely get my neck ache. So I've never really understood how stress can impact you, apart from making you ill,
Yeah.
like you said. But the physical feeling of it for me, I really noticed, because I run and I train. I've always got a niggle somewhere. So I just come to think, oh, well, that's a knot because I've not been sat at my desk properly, or I've done shoulder workout. But it's genuine. I can make an absolute direct link to how I'm feeling, what I'm dealing with, and where my pain is.
Yeah.
Which is bonkers. Are there particular areas of the body that you would notice if you were stressed? Does stress live in any particular area more than others, if that makes sense?
Well, obviously we do head, neck and shoulder massage.
For a reason.
Yeah. And a lot of it is, the majority of people if the first thing you do when you're stressed, or one of the responses to stress, is your body tenses up, ready for that fight or flight, ready to respond to that fear. And that physical tension, just like, your shoulders start
Shoulders
lifting.
touching your ears.
Yeah. And your jaw starts to tense, and your forehead goes, and you're holding that tension in your upper body. And it's just been, if you think if you're stressed for a long period of time and you're holding that and your muscles are tense for long periods of time, they're going to become fatigued. The muscles start shortening, and, you get that tightness over a period of time when you're holding, maybe an emotional stress or a mental stress. It's all interlinked.
Yeah. You made me think of, there's a video online of a guy holding a bottle of water out. And he's like, you hold it out and it's fine. It's just a 500ml bottle of water.
Yeah.
And he's like, but hold it for half an hour and hold it for an hour. And then he holds it for longer, and your whole arm, your shoulder, your back, everything starts. And I'm like, I suppose that's a visual representation of the stress, isn't it? Yeah. And I know you've explained about what, high blood pressure and heart attack, stroke and things like that. Obviously very serious. I'm not brushing past them. But what are the smaller things that it could lead to that would be a warning sign that people might go to the doctor or be off work for, but are not as serious as what it can end up being? What are the other ailments, I suppose, that it can lead to?
Some of the things are things like anxiety. So feeling that knot in your stomach, just feeling a little bit nauseous sometimes, just feeling on edge. It can be things like low moods, being fatigued, not having any energy, not feeling motivated to want to do anything. Physically, it's, you're feeling tense all the time, you're not sleeping. You might feel that you're missing meals, so you're not eating much, or you go the other way and you're craving those sugary foods and, comfort eating. And it's almost feeling like you never quite switched off. You don't feel like yourself. When you think about it, that realisation is like, just not feeling myself at the moment.
People do say that. I just feel meh, is what people say, because you can't articulate it, because they're not exactly sure what it is.
Yeah, can't pinpoint it.
But they know they don't feel right. So I think that is really useful point, because that could be, you need to look at what's going on at home, what's going on at work, talk to your managers if you can. I hope you can talk to your managers, or if not, tell somebody else at work.
Yeah.
If you feel like you can't tell your manager.
I think sometimes just having a colleague that you get on with, that you can just chat about things, and I've come across it quite a few times where people maybe have left a business and they're still friends with someone in the business, so they kind of understand the culture and what's going on and people that might be involved and things like
that's
that.
also just telling someone, isn't it? It's useful, and having people around you that you can tell. If you've got no one around you that you can tell about things like this, and you need some new friends. Tell me and Cheryle, we'll help. Message us on LinkedIn. It's Cheryle with an E on the end. And for people who are listening, and wanting to start something for the team and to focus on well-being, or are not really sure, what's the tip? What's a tip from you in terms of what's one thing they can do relatively easy and quickly to start, apart from book a meeting with you?
Well, that's the first step,
That's the
obviously.
first step,
Yeah.
obviously.
I think it depends on your business. What is it that you're doing? And I think as much as anything, it's showing a commitment to the people in the business and to yourself that it's something that you want to focus on and you want to improve.
Okay.
Because until you make that decision, nothing's going to change. The amount of people that we speak to that, well-being's important, but we're not sure where to start. We're not sure what we want. We're not sure about this, that, and the other. You've kind of got to get past that first step and say, right, okay, we are going to do something about this. And it's whether it's at top level or whether you've got wellbeing champions or people who want to, kind of push it forward with the support of senior leadership. But it's going past that, talking about it. We need to do something to actually make a decision
on one thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I suppose you want to make a change, just make a change. It doesn't have to be big.
No.
Could just be putting posters up. That could be a first step.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about employees, but I did want to talk lastly about business owners specifically, because it is easy to put things in place for your team, and we do shoulder a lot as business owners, as you will well know. It's easier to focus on your well-being for your team than it is for yourself sometimes, I think. So are there any tips for business owners or senior leaders that are doing all this stuff for other people? Like, are there any tips of how they can help their own?
Do you know what?
Well-being.
Sometimes that showing a level of vulnerability, or without showing a level of vulnerability, just participating. Whatever's being done, to be seen to be participating at the top level shows everyone else that this is something that you believe in.
So, and what would that participation look like? Like in a workshop, if it's getting involved in it as yourself,
Yeah.
rather than just putting it on for the team, and if it comes up, well, just getting involved with if they're asked for answers or things, like just being involved in on that level.
Yeah, I think with workshops it's difficult because obviously the workshops can be quite open, and when you've got different levels of leadership, particularly like senior leaders, we found sometimes, depending on the culture and what stage of the journey you're at, people are less likely to open up unless the leaders are quite vulnerable themselves.
Got you.
Happy to open up and start that conversation.
Yeah, that's what I kind of mean, like leading the conversations, but then getting involved themselves.
Yeah, I think sometimes if you've got a story that you're happy to tell, then that's great. If you're in a position of vulnerability, if you're experiencing severe stress or other poor mental health, or it's very difficult to be open about it in the moment. What we find from the workshops that we've done is that people who've maybe gone through a difficult time and come out the other side are a lot stronger. They're much happier to talk about it, having those anecdotes of this. I felt like, I felt awful, and this is what I did, and I feel much better now. It's like, oh, I didn't realise you felt like that.
Yeah.
And it opens the conversation, and then it becomes a very kind of inclusive conversation rather than you sat in a room waiting for someone to talk.
Yeah. And if there's people who struggle, you're not going to talk about it.
No.
Not many people would want to talk. Some people would, but yeah. And then, do you mean by participating just having one of the therapy sessions?
Well, to be fair, the fact that we actually find that because the therapy rooms are completely confidential, they're off-site, even though we're just in the car park, anyone at any level of the business can come in and have a session. Don't have to say anything, but just the fact that you've got that 15 minutes to focus on your own personal self-care. And quite often we have people come in and they'll actually go and book appointments in their own time with our therapists who've all got their own clinics.
Amazing.
Just means that, we're taking that self-care at the next level.
Yeah.
It's not just having 15 minutes. It's, oh, actually, I really enjoyed that. I really got some benefit. And CEOs, MDs, senior leaders, and employees, apprentices, everyone can kind of participate.
Okay. Oh, I love that. I think that concludes all my questions, apart from one of my favourite parts of every podcast, which is our game of fresh or stale. So I'm going to throw 5 things your way, not physically. Or if I did throw anything, it would just be cushions. And you need to tell me and the listeners whether you think they're still fresh and fabulous or stale, and why you think
God,
that.
I just got the pressure.
Okay, are you ready? Should we just get into it? It's not scary. Trick or treated?
Stale.
Why? Can tell what Cheryl's not going to be doing tomorrow night.
I love the lights off. To be fair, we live on a really quiet, kind of quiet street, so we'd never had.
Oh, so it is still around your way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to take my niece and nephew trick or treating, but I don't like it when people come to my door. So I'm like, I'm such a hypocrite.
Well, to be fair, yeah, because my son's just left for university, and he's got a whole host of different kind of Halloween going on this year.
Oh,
But yeah, we're just empty nesting, probably hiding in the back room or going out
without the light, my mum turning off all the lights, pretending they're not in. Deadlifting.
Oh gosh, stale.
Why?
Because I went to.
You look genuinely scared then.
Yeah, I went to a body pump class. I actually did 2. But
Body pump is hard.
yeah, I had to take the 5 kilogram weights off and just have the bar. My little arms were just shaking.
You put weights on, and if you just do like a set of 10 or 12, you'd be fine, because it's constant for 45 minutes. Yeah, I'm with you. You have to take the weight off.
Sometimes you have a bad experience and it's hard to come back from that.
Right, well, we need to. I need to come to a class with you? We face this fear
Okay.
together, right? Okay. Matcha.
Yes.
Why?
Love it. Fresh. Just because it's so good for you. It tastes awful. Tastes absolutely awful.
It tastes like it looks, like
Yeah.
bright green.
Yeah. But if you put it with like citrus or something like that, then, just mask the flavour, the benefits way.
Why is it so good for you? What does it do?
It's the antioxidants, so it helps with anti-aging, but it also helps with...
Oh, definitely going to go and buy some of that.
And all like that, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Daytime TV. Depends on the day.
Yeah, it depends on the day. Oh, you said these questions were easy.
Listen, I'm not responsible for this. It's Rachel. I mean, you can have a word with her on the way out. And Fitbit watches.
Fresh.
Okay. Good. Why?
Smartwatches.
Oh,
More you know.
they have made us all more active, because, well, especially the competitive amongst us.
Yeah. But I just think sometimes, again, without taking it to an extreme, so as long as you don't become obsessive about it, it just helps you measure. It helps you track things. For me, I use a smartwatch for sleep, and generally I sleep pretty well. So if I'm having a bad night's sleep, it's like, oh, how did I score? How did I score last night? Right, okay.
Okay, and what watch do you use? Do you which
the
smartwatch?
Garmin
A
one.
Garmin. I do think I need a new one. I've got a Google one. I've
Mm.
recently gone Android. I fell out with Apple, but I do not like my Google Watch in comparison to Apple. So I think I'm going to get a Garmin.
Yeah, they are good.
But yeah, even it's like if I've done 9,001 steps, I'm like, right, come on. I'm getting my coat on. Or Pete used to laugh at me when I was first started on my 10,000 steps a day. I'd be like, walking around the couch, just trying to hit.
Doing it.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, I've done it. And it took me 10 minutes.
Well, that's good, because some people just move their arm up and down, don't they?
Yeah, I'm on brush the teeth. Dry your hair. Vigorously hoovering. Which, no, is still activity. So that's it, I think. I mean, we've probably gone on longer than I normally would, but I think it's a fantastic topic that I think everybody's interested in. Everybody should be doing something about it, whether it's for themselves, for each other, for the people that they're responsible for. And I think it's a topic people are interested in, so I was happy to stay and chat more about it. And thank you so much for coming in to tell us all of your tips and wisdom.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and give us a follow. Tell other people about this podcast. You can, if you're listening to it on Spotify, SoundCloud, or Apple, you can tell other people that they can listen to it on other platforms. And you can check us out on our website, www.p4perspective-resourcing.co.uk, and check me and the team out on LinkedIn. My name's Laura Leyland, and Cheryl is also on LinkedIn. Cheryle with an E, and Britton, Britton.
Yep, that's correct.
Very good. And YOLO Wellbeing is the company. And thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See you later.